Hello, this is TheAmazingAtheist, and it's It's Amazing Atheist's scary list of 10 questions, which I printed up here, and I'm going to read them to you. Question number 1: is eugenics inherently wrong? Well, many things are dumped under the term eugenics. You have things like, forcefully sterilizing mentally retarded people, or undesirable races, or sexual orientations, things like that. And such stuff is, of course, barbaric and wrong. Now, there's one other tricky question. Is the encouragement of any particular group to have lots of children wrong, as long as other groups are in no way, shape, or form hampered from having all the children they want? So, for instance, would it be wrong to institute measures for highly intelligent, successful people that, due to the pursuing of a career, have far less time to raise a family than an average person? I think such measures would not, in general, be wrong, as long as no one's right to have children is trampled with. Question 2: should people need to get a license to be parents? I don't think people should need to get a license to be parents. I believe everyone deserves to have at least one child. However, I do believe that the right to be parents should be revoked in cases where parents have been shown to be extremely incompetent or incapable of raising children, and have left the children in an extreme state of neglect and abuse. Question 3: should the age of consent be raised, kept the same, or abolished? Well, every single state in America has drastically different ages of consent. In Serbia, at this moment, it's at the age of 14, which I think is kind of low, and is 18 for male same-sex relationships. So I think lesbians would technically fall under the age of 14 and not 18. And they're probably going to be changing the law, not to have any sort of discrimination against homosexuality going on as Serbia competes to join the European Union. I think that a reasonable age of consent is 16, but only for peers up to like the age of 21. And needless to say, no pornographic movies until you're 18. I mean, starring in pornographic movies. And at 18, I believe a person should be fully free to pursue any sort of sexual relationship they want. But like 16 for this sort of, introductory, vanilla style stuff, and only with people of similar age, and 18 for a full-fledged age of consent, in my opinion. I think that is sort of the most reasonable level. Question 4: should all drugs be legal? Should the currently legal drugs be illegal? Should it all stay the same? If I had it my way, alcohol, tobacco, and all drugs like marijuana, LSD, not to mention cocaine, heroin, things like that, all of that would be illegal if I had it my way. But in the current society, it's not realistically going to happen, and I believe that at least we should not be hypocritical in these laws. So any drug that can be demonstrated to be less addictive and harmful than alcohol and tobacco, and I believe marijuana falls under that category, should be made legal. And of course, only for above the age of 18. In Serbia, for example, I think the legal drinking age is 16 and beer does not count. So young people wanting to party, come over to Serbia. And of course, I believe that advertising during daytime hours of all of these products would have to be banned, including beer. Okay, question 5. Why are zombie movies so popular, and why are all the classical monster movies, ghosts, vampires, werewolves in decline? Well, you had a long spell of ghost movies in the 80s and the 90s, a long spell of vampire movies, even werewolves, but more in like comedic type movies, because it's not really that scary of a concept for a late 20, early 21st century person that lives nowhere near a forest, for example. So it's time for the zombies now to be popular. But I think there's one other very important effect here. And that effect is that zombies are not... There has been an oversaturation of extremely over-the-top powerful villains. So, starting from the 80s, every new villain in every new movie had to be simply more powerful, more spectacular, more daunting than the previous one. And it has reached the point of all realism and suspense being thrown out of the window. In other words, you can tell that the main villain is, while being ruthless with everyone else, is not using his 100% potential of power against the main hero. He's giving him the kid gloves treatment. And people understandably don't like that. So, which you can see, for example, in Terminator 2 versus Terminator 3. Terminator 2 was a very scary, very successful, very exciting movie because you had a well-defined villain with well-defined abilities. T-1000, being able to turn his hands into knives and things like that. And then he used... It wasn't absolute power, but it was well-defined power, and he used it 100% to get to the kid. You could tell in every single situation that the villain was really going after the kid with all his might. Now what do you have in Terminator 3? 100 times more powerful villain and blah. Basically. Typical Hollywood bullcrap in my opinion. So it simply doesn't work, and I think in this new millennium there's been a sort of a return to more human level movies, less grandiose movies. And zombies are a pretty interesting enemy in my opinion because they're not powerful, but what they lack in power they more than make up in their sheer numbers and determination. So in all other movies, the hero is like effortless, killing one enemy, another, third, fourth. In zombie movies, even as the killer is killing one zombie after another, he is still scared shitless of being overrun just because there's so many of them, and it really plays to our fear of being overwhelmed by a throng, a crowd. So that's why I think zombie movies now are very popular. Realistic, not too powerful villains that more than make that up in terms of their determination to get at the main hero.